Good morning, Matt.
Oh, good morning, Will.
Good morning to all of you.
Welcome to Games for Breakfast, the only internet talk show we talk about this week's gaming and tech news, but that also happens doubly fast than normal because it's going to slow down in the future times. The future is not set. The only fate is what we make for ourselves. Carved into a wooden park bench, a picnic table.
Buddy, do you smell toast?
It's delicious. Toast is part. It's literally on the table. Am I looking at it? I'm looking at it right now. There's toast
On the table.
right there.
Okay. No,
right.
That feels
Right there.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Hello. Greetings and salutations.
Welcome to Games for Breakfast. You might be thinking to yourself, Matt, Will, Brad, Janet, Rocky, what are we all doing here so soon to the last one?
Yeah.
I know. I woke up this morning. I apparated into this chair, and Will's like, "You ready?" And I'm like, "Ah!" And I realized that my life is one puzzle box I'm trying to escape from. Now, the issue here is not that we had a lovely Summer Friday episode, which we did, but because next Monday we will not be having a breakfast, and there's so much news to cover that we couldn't cover even in that Summer Friday edition. We're just doing our regularly scheduled Games for Breakfast right now to make sure we cover all the stuff, because then we're going to be gone for a week. So we'll be back in 2 weeks from today.
Yep. And so we have several updates. The first of which is a reminder: we're running a Kickstarter.
That's true.
The Kickstarter is for the 2026 History Happens Every Day calendar. It's got 24 days to go, and this weekend we crushed our $35,000 stretch goal.
Nice.
Which is wild. As of right now, it's at $37,235, but that's not the important part. The important part is that we are shipping out at least 757 calendars, and if you would like to be one of the people to get this really cool calendar covered in brand new art done by David Hueso in the style of various famous world artists, but also if those artists painted beans, you can do that. There'll be links to Kickstarter pretty much everywhere. You can go back it on Kickstarter, but that's real cool.
Yeah. Also, the reason that there will not be a breakfast next week is I will be, it was a last minute thing. I will be actually out in Indianapolis at Gen Con. If you are going to Gen Con and you see me out there, please say hello. I will be roaming around. I'll be working with James a little bit, maybe running some Cyberpunk Legends play tests over there. I believe all these sessions are sold out, but you never know. You could swing by the booth and see if you are in the area. Because the game is dope, and I've been playtesting it for like a year and a half, 2 years, and I'm ready to help show it to other people. It is phenomenal. If you haven't seen any of the information about that yet, there is a live stream Will and I did with James and Mike Pondsmith, the creator of Cyberpunk, on the channel, which you can go check out to get more information about it. It is phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to getting back to indie, because I have not been in like 6 years. And Gen Con, I've only been once, and it kind of blew my mind, and now I get to go back, so it's very fun.
I have never been to Gen Con, and at this point, I think I'm too afraid to ask.
That's the vibe. Like, Gen Con it's a lot. Like, PAX is a lot. MagFest is a lot.
MagFest
MagFest is the right level of a lot,
yeah.
Where PAX undulates between too much a lot and too little a lot. Gen Con is just a lot. Like, I feel like I've never been to Dragon Con, but I feel like Gen Con is the Dragon Con equivalent, just with probably less cosplay. Like, it's just gigantic. They fill the Lucas Oil Stadium like completely with tabletop things. I think True Dungeon is in there this year. Like, and that's like a fifth of it. Like, it's insane. I went through it, like I said, 6 years ago, and I don't think I even scratched the surface. So I'm looking forward to exploring it again.
The closest I've been is when Otakon was in Baltimore, and they filled the Baltimore Convention Center, which is flippin' massive, by the way. If you've never been to the Baltimore Convention Center, it's wildly huge. It's bigger than it looks like from the outside.
Of course.
Because it's tall. And yeah, that was big. But I think
Mila is correct. Starfighter 2E is also premiering this year, which I'm very, very excited about. I'm always looking for a new. We were just talking about sci-fi tabletop stuff with the Dwarven Forge Starforge campaign on the pre-show, and yes, I am very much looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Also, last piece of news. There is officially, and it's officially unofficial. I think it's this Friday, but Kat controls this. We've given it to Kat to decide when this launches. We are going to be starting monthly animated EC episodes yet again. So if you're watching this and you're like, this is fun, however, but where's the show? It's coming back. We're going to be taking a couple odd swings. This first one's a little more
traditional,
straightforward.
Yeah.
But it's about, I think, 15 minutes long. Eddie Webb is back, and we're talking about the fragility of, actually, it fits in the Gen Con stuff, board game, tabletop, RPG production in the time of, essentially, like, tariffs are an issue, of course, but the system that this is all predicated and built upon has been, let's say, complex for a very long time. And the second that a one or two small pebbles or large boulders come to this production chain, that is where things start crumbling. So we break it all down. Eddie has been in the tabletop and RPG industry for years, so he has a very unique eye and look into this problem. And we talk about it a lot. It's a fascinating episode, art done by Nick DeWitt. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it when it drops. Maybe Friday?
Maybe Friday.
But if not, very soon after.
The Bull asked, this is a great question. Is Gen Con tabletop oriented? I haven't been. Yes. Gen Con is all things tabletop, RPG, dice slinging, card game, physical gaming is all
Yes.
Gen Con.
It is an absolute blast if you like those sort of things, and probably a living nightmare if you don't like those things.
Correct. It is also consistently it is on the line of too many people. And depending on your view of that line, you may just think it's too many people. It is like tons of people all in one place. The convention hall is huge. Everybody's there. Yeah.
I looked into getting Critical Role tickets, but they are too rich for my blood. I believe it was 71,000 attendees with 540 exhibiting companies in 2024. So that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's quite a few. Speaking of physical games.
Speaking of them.
Let's talk about our first story, which is Magic. Now, I'm going to say a thing that I believe is true, and lots of people will take negatively, and I'm going to tell y'all that it's going to be fine. Magic.
Interesting. That's a lot of
yeah, okay.
setup.
So Magic is firmly set on the path to be the physical version of Fortnite.
Yes, but I have a real big asterisk.
Yeah, I think the big asterisks are severalfold. Number one, crossovers between Magic and other IPs tend to be much deeper than Fortnite ones, where like Fortnite is like, hey, we made Hatsune Miku hold a gun and kill people.
Hey, we made Superman hold a gun and kill people.
Right.
Hey, we made Batman hold a gun and kill people.
Right. And you're just like,
There's some tonal dissonance there, but
right.
sure.
Yeah. And so while Magic is fundamentally a combat card game, there are characters that are less murdery, like Aunt May, who's in the new Spider-Man set. And we bring this up for two reasons. Number one, the Spider-Man and Avatar sets officially began getting revealed this weekend at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, those previews look cool.
The previews look awesome. There are lots of really interesting Spider-Man ones. Weird new take, by the way. There are going to be cards that are, in my understanding, and I could be wrong, but this is the impression that I've gotten so far, exclusive to action figure packaging.
I did see there was one that
Yeah.
Which one was it? Was it the Iron Spider, but it was MJ?
I think that's right. Yeah, the Stark Spider.
Yeah, or whatever it was. I thought I saw that on a
There's
site.
an upgraded version of Spider-Man with Iron Man armor that I believe may be an action figure exclusive. There is some weirdness going on with the Spider-Man set and the nature of all of the crossover cards, especially because unlike most of the starter decks for Spider-Man will contain cards that won't be legal in standard, which is also weird. So it's just...
I have a theory on that.
Yeah.
I think that it seems like, especially with that fact and some cards being packaged with action figures, it feels like this is a real on-ramp. They want this to be a real on-ramp for younger and new players.
Yes.
Obviously, Marvel's fan base is not just kids, but if you're doing things like this, it probably leans towards like getting, middle school-ish, probably people like that would buy action figures, get a cool card. Oh, it looks neat. Oh, this is a game. And then going in with a thing that is easy to obtain, powerful enough to be fun, and then making those not the actual things that are legal when the player gets old enough to care about such things, like they've already have a foot in the door for Magic and they might pay attention more. That kind of feels like the path.
I will also say that when we talk about Magic and when I talk about Magic, I am really bad at this and I'm trying to be better at it. I am so far away from the target audience of a lot of the get into Magic stuff.
That's because, and there's lots of, there's literally dozens of you, there's tons. So many people are into
Right, and as a result of that, it is very easy for me to forget that the number one place that people play Magic is at their kitchen table, and the number one format they play is kitchen table Magic, which is, hey, we both made 60-card decks out of whatever cards we have lying around. What's a format anyway? And then they play. And so this is kind of perfect for that because it, a lot of these cards are very much like the very unique, like, oh man, I can't believe you found your one copy of Spider-Man 2099 in your deck and you beat me with it. And like, it creates that story. So I think that's going to be interesting. We've also begun seeing the Avatar stuff. The Avatar stuff also looks gorgeous. Oh, by the way, one of the things that they're doing with the Spider-Man stuff that I think is very good is capital V, capital G, very good is they're doing comic book treatments for almost every card of note. There are comic book treatments for different sagas, different villains, different heroes. So there's a version that has like what I would call more traditional Magic art, and then there's another version where like the whole thing is done in comic panels. Like there are sagas that are done in like 3 different distinct comic panels, and it's really good and cool. So like there is like a depth to this crossover that I think is going to be really interesting.
Well, that's some of the cards that they've revealed too, and this is why this was the big asterisk that I was taking. And this goes for the Final Fantasy set. This goes for the Spider-Man set. It seems of the cards that have been released so far. And most of the sets, I would argue, Will, you can correct me when I'm wrong, but something that I really appreciate that the designers at Magic do is when they do these, admittedly, like cash grabby things, there's no problem. Like, let me be very clear. I have no problem with that. If you're going to bring one IP into another IP, there's nothing wrong with that. I, too, remember back in the day having all the different action figures and bashing them together and not caring if one was a G.I. Joe and one was a Ninja Turtle. I don't care. I think it's fun. And I don't even have a problem with what Fortnite does in theory. But Fortnite is normally, outside of a couple mechanical things, I know like Thanos and Superman, you can spawn in as them or they come and do different things, but like the skin game in Fortnite, when it is a character, you're all still playing Fortnite. Every character, because Fortnite, the design of Fortnite as a game is everyone is in the same like playing field, right? Everyone is having the same thing. There's no stat difference, no whatever, and that's good for Fortnite. But that's weird when you have Superman running around with Sabrina Carpenter. Yes. Like not because they can't exist in the same universe, but because they're both carrying a gun. And that is totally dissonant to me. What Magic tends to do, and what I really appreciate, is they tend to, because their mechanics are so deep and almost infinite at this point, they tend to skin their cards to make them feel like the abilities that are happening are in line with whatever IP'd character that card is portraying. Yep. Or an action or a thing in that world. Yep. They do a really good job of that, and then it doesn't feel weird that Spider-Man is gonna do something to your Jace, because the way that Spider-Man does things and the way that Jace does things feel different, even though they're baked into the same rules.
Correct. And here's a great example of this. Aunt May's getting a card. Aunt May is a 0/2. Aunt May's not going to kill anything or anybody unless you do something magical, right?
remember that statement. I can't wait till some like nonsense comes out and like it's the Aunt May deck is the thing, right? Like
it probably will be. She's a one cost enabler for a very degenerate deck. There's a life gain deck.
Mark my words, chat.
And Aunt May, when a creature comes in, she makes them food. She gains you 1 life, and if it's a spider, it gets a +1/+1 counter. So
that's delightful.
So with all the different Spider-Mans, yeah. And they're really leaning into the Spider-Verse thing because like every distinct version of Spider-Man is a different card with a different name. So despite the fact that they're all Spider-Man, you can have them all on the field at the same time, which is cool. Anyway, so that's really neat. I like the core previews. They're bringing allies back, so that's nice. But overall, I think that this is sort of like this preview thing has been really big. Small caveat. Wizards did kind of screw this up. I saw cards for a set I can't purchase yet before I went to a pre-release for the set that came out that hasn't come out yet. The pre-release weekend for Edge of Eternities was last weekend. I went Friday night, and I was already seeing previews for Spider-Man before I could spend money on Edge of Eternities. Their scheduling was a little screwy here. So they were previewing stuff and cutting the floor out from under their own set because now people are looking forward to Spider-Man instead of the set that's out right now that like people haven't even really gotten a chance to play with outside pre-releases. And that is not great. Not great. Yeah. And is probably the most emblematic of like Magic's like, we must make all the sets. And you're like, you can make a lot of sets. And they're like, no, we must make all the sets. Yeah. So that's a problem. However, they're not going to stop. And the reason they're not going to stop is the financial report for Wizards came out. So this is the, I'm going to pull.
This comes to us from a lot of different places. IGN, yeah. PC Gamer,
I'm actually,
investing.com.
I'm pulling up the so this is the Q2 2025 report. So the financials for Hasbro came out in an investor call. And I swear I will make it make sense why I'm talking about this. So Hasbro made $981 million flat year over year in Q2. Okay. Of that, I'm gonna find it. Gonna find
that number.
Yeah. The Wizards was about half of that.
Yes.
Wizards of the Coast, so Hasbro, and a little more than half. So for comparison, Hasbro, the big toy company, is now like, you know the Rick and Morty robot? Like, what is my purpose? You bring the butter, and it gets so sad. That's Hasbro, except you support Wizards of the Coast. Like, that is where we're at right now. And of that, I cannot stress enough that this is a real number that they actually reported in an investor call. $200 million of the $981 million that Hasbro made in Q2 2025 was made in one day from one product. It was the day that Final Fantasy dropped. Final Fantasy,
the pre-release day, the day you could order them.
Right, yeah. Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering made $200 million in a day, and they also admitted that they left money on the table because they could not meet demand. So we are firmly in the never going back, all aboard the Magic Fortnite train. Now, that being said, I do agree with Matt's assessment that the designers of Magic care an awful lot about a lot of these IPs, and they tend to only do these with things that they like. Right? Like, little stuff that's going to make a bunch of money, but they don't really have, like, a deep fondness for tends to get shoved into a secret lair. Like, the full sets need, like, months of time and people who really care about Spider-Man, Final Fantasy, Avatar, whatever. And by the way...
I'm really curious how the Avatar one will do.
Yeah. So far, it looks really interesting. They're bringing back a beloved mechanic.
Yeah. I'm curious because... Avatar's never been my bag. I like the movies. I think they are technical marvels, and you never bet against James Cameron. But from a Spider-Man perspective or a Final Fantasy perspective, the lore is deep. Like the lore feels like you could like, and I don't mean like just deep as in narratively. I mean deep as in like decades, right? Like, whereas Avatar, if it does have deep lore, I don't think the movies terribly dive into it. And so maybe they can make it up. I don't know.
I'm going to spout some heresy, chat. Everybody put your heresy hats on. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to bet.
Wait, hold on. Which Avatar are we talking about? Someone just brought this up.
The
Are we
Last
talking about
Airbender.
James Cameron's Avatar?
No, we're talking Last Airbender.
Jesus. For whatever reason, so
No.
erase the last 5 minutes of what I said then. Of course, Last Airbender works.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't know where, like, there's as much last...
Avatar, the James Cameron Avatar has been, like, invading everything. Like, there was social media
I would
posts
be
being
upset
like,
if they were doing the blue people. No,
I'd really like to thank Fantastic Four. No, what was it? Because they did the Ash of Fire or whatever trailer for the third Avatar movie, and it was like there was some really cheeky comment. It was like it was really nice of the Avatar trailer to let Fantastic Four play after it.
Yeah. So no, sorry. Let me clarify. Aang, Katara.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Sokka's girlfriend who becomes the moon got previewed.
Thank you.
Yeah, and my following the heresy I was going to spout is the following. There is as much relevant Avatar for them to draw cards from as the section, listen to my words carefully, the section of the work of J.R.R. Tolkien that they chose to draw references from. They chose a very narrow set of Tolkien's work, just the Lord of the Rings, and I would say that there's about as much source material now for Avatar that's relevant as there was for Lord of the Rings when they did it.
If they were going to make a James Cameron Avatar set,
it'd be a secret lair.
But also, I would hope that the card for Unobtainium would be of Black Lotus status. It would have to be so hard to get.
Yeah.
It's in the name.
I'm looking. I'm looking. Someone asked about the preview for Sokka's girlfriend, and I'm looking it up real quick.
Chat, Brad and Janet, I appreciate you coming on with me with this journey of misunderstanding.
That is my bad. I forget that James Cameron's Avatar exists because it doesn't exist to me, because I've literally never seen it, because I have no interest in it whatsoever. Like, no one has given me a compelling reason besides, like, it's a visual spectacle, and I looked at it and went,
listen, the
fine.
story of the second one is way better. You actually start learning character names.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, I was going to say, in the second one, can I not replace all of the proper nouns with proper nouns and turn it into a Disney movie? Like, because it's
Jake Sully.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Great. Excellent. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I don't have her preview card. I know Katara deals with. Kept hoping Matt was wrong. Yeah.
And I was. Your dream came true.
Yeah. I think Avatar: The Last Airbender is going to be pretty big. It is also from what we've heard going to be about the same size as the Foundation set from last year. That is to say, it's going to have a pretty big layout, and you're probably going to be able to get Bender decks for each of the colors.
Like from Futurama? I'm just messing with you. I'm sorry.
Don't get my hopes up for a Bending Bender Rodriguez deck.
Have they done Futurama?
I don't think so. If they have, I'm upset because I want a Fry shut up and take my money card. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care what it is. I'll get it, right? It'll be great. Because it's anyway. I think it's going to be really good. I'm really excited for it. But the earnings report shows that, and this is kind of the interesting thing. We've talked a lot about this over the time that Magic's been doing this. The earnings report shows that for all of the people who are vocally against this, and there are a lot of them, right? There are lots of people who are not fans of Universes Beyond. There are lots of people who say that it's making Magic worse. There are lots of people who do not want it to be part of the game. Sorry. We're never going back. They made, again, they made $200 million in one day and admitted in an investor call that they left money on the table.
The issue, though, here's the other thing, too.
Like, that's it.
The issue is not every set like this will be Final Fantasy or will be Marvel.
Right.
Like,
but it could be.
Well, it can be. Okay, so I believe in one of these articles, I read these yesterday, so I'm sort of, maybe you could find it, Will, or you know what I'm talking about. They had mentioned that the Lord of the Rings set, which I thought would bust doors wide open for money, like, was fine. Like, it didn't do, like, right?
It took 6 months to cross $200 million.
Sure, that's what it was. That was the stat. Thank you. Not everything will be Final Fantasy, right? Like, that is, I would argue, a more perfect crossover than Spider-Man. Now, I think Spider-Man's going to be big, and I think they're doing, from what I've seen, a good job. But Final Fantasy as a franchise and Magic the Gathering as a franchise go together so well. And I think, Will, you've played with these cards, so maybe you can fill this in. Do you think that the Magic set was more geared towards, like, people who already played Magic? Because Spider-Man seems like it might be for people that really want to start playing.
It is
Magic.
a much more introductory. Spider-Man is a much more introductory set. They did say that when they were designing Final Fantasy, they elevated the mechanics that they would normally do because they knew that the audience they were looking at is an audience of RPG gamers. They're not looking at an audience of comic book fans who may never have played a game like this before, but they're aiming at an audience of RPG gamers who are used to reading all of the stuff to figure out what the abilities do, at least in theory. At least in theory. Not everyone reads all the stuff. Sometimes people get confused about why their elemental abilities aren't working on things.
Will, when does the new set, the space set, come out?
It comes out on Arena tomorrow. It officially drops this Friday. Pre-releases started last week.
I wonder if Gen Con will have decks.
They probably should. They're out. The commander decks are out. There are two of them.
Because I love going to conventions, buying a commander deck, and just figuring it out. That's kind of where I live with Magic right now. Will, you collect and you play and you know. I love playing the game, but I have so few chances to do so. And I just like finding the commander deck of whatever set comes out and be like, yep, that's the one for the next 3 months, 4 months, and that's what I play.
Yeah.
Which is I enjoy that because it's a simple way for me to keep engaging with it.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that this is the path that the game is going down, and we have no hope that it's going to divert from this. Right? I think it
would have to fail 4 or 5 times on an epic scale for them to back away from it.
This is it, right? This is the path that Magic is going down now. We are all ahead on the crossover train. If you don't want to participate in that, that's cool and fine, and I totally respect not wanting to do that. But I think the people who are holding out hope that Wizards would learn that they were wrong are out of luck. That's my point, right? It's not a question of right or wrong. It's a question of the inevitability of the direction of a thing that a lot of people love dearly is going.
But you can, the thing that is, in my opinion, at least as from now until something bad happens, but I think Magic is in an interesting spot where you can engage with it in most way. Like most everyone who likes a form of Magic can still engage with Magic. Now the pricing, etc., that's another issue altogether. But it feels like you want to do around the kitchen table Magic, we got you. You want to do Commander deck at conventions, we got you. You want to go to pre-releases and Friday Night Magic, we got you. You want to collect all the cards and read all the rules, we got you. You want to tie in with other IPs, we got you. Like it seems like they're doing the net is wide. What I hope is they keep the net wide while they try to rake in all the money with these IP grabs. That would be the nice thing to do.
Yeah. And for the record, they've been doing a pretty Final Fantasy they did a good job. There is one stupidly busted card, exactly one. Is a Precious Sun. Vivi is currently wrecking multiple formats. Fine. One card. That's about on rate. It's about on rate for any Magic set, right? They managed to not pitch it so low that it's not relevant. There are plenty of cards in it that are relevant. Fire Magic seeing standard play, a bunch of others. But they also managed to not make it so incredibly overtuned that everyone's like, God, I'm sick of Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah. They do. There is an end game capitalism kind of thing about all these crossovers. We're talking about Magic or Fortnite or whatever. And we actually did an episode of EC a while back. I think it's called Skeletor Wants Your Money.
Yeah.
And it's Skeletor driving the battle bus in the thumbnail. Go check that out. It's a personal story I had where I almost bought a Call of Duty skin with Skeletor, and I'm like, wait, I don't play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But what will happen eventually, and we're kind of already seeing this, like new IP is developing slower.
Yes.
Things aren't catching on. I've even talking to, actually, maybe if there's some parents in the either Brad or Janet right now or on Rocky, you can message us on Blue Sky. I've had a couple parents tell me like it's interesting. I was gonna say they're weirded out. They're not weirded out. They're finding it interesting that their kids don't glom on to like things the way that they or my generation, our generation used to glom onto, because there was less to glom onto. Like if you were a nerdy kid and you saw Star Wars and you loved Star Wars, like that was your whole thing, like forever. And there was maybe one or two other things that wasn't like the one trick pony. But now because there's 700 things, it seemed like my friends' kids watch something, they're like, that's neat, and they just move on. There's no diving deep into it because there's so much. Like a perfect example, K-pop Demon Hunters, which I think we talked about a couple weeks ago. Is a phenomenal movie from the animators of Into the Spider-Verse on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it right now. It's dope. After the show, but the it's actually kind of perfect also for kids, and multiple people have been like, my kids really liked it, and then they never talked about it again. Like that is something that could have been a franchise or something a while ago, but because there's so many options now, it's harder for new things to find root. And sorry, I know you're jumping in here, but the moral of that story is, if we just keep recycling IP that has already existed since the 80s through the Fortnites, the Magics, the other things, these shared universes, not only like Magic works because it's a multiverse, Fortnite, like I guess it is, but like you just get this sort of IP slurry and you don't get stories, like you don't get meaningful stories or new IP or characters to tell those stories through. And it will get to that if this is all we get, right?
Yeah, I think part of it is that because there's more options, there's less desire to become deeply enfranchised in a single thing, and B, I'm trying to think of the correct way to say this. There's a lot of deeply entrenched factionalization in large parts of our society, and it makes sense that sometimes people don't want to tie their identity to external factors because, well, they've seen what happens when you do that in other large parts of our society. And I think that makes sense too. There is some amount of like drive to create individual identity, particularly in the nerd space, with all of its particular proclivities and leanings. And I think that is becoming more of an emergent factor, right? I used to say that I would definitely be like a Star Wars kid, right? And then I like learned about Star Trek, and now I've watched so much sci-fi, right? Yeah. And like, I wouldn't say that any of it particularly identifies me in the way that it used to, but that's also,
Well, like, it's funny. Someone just said this. Thing was Richard up top. Controversial take: K-pop Demon Hunters, the current era's version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I feel like if we had the same amount of IP and children's programming as when the original Ninja Turtles cartoon, not comic book, came out, it would be. But it's not going to be. It should be, but it's not going to be. Yeah. Just because there's so much stuff. And also to David's point before about, you mentioned he has a 7-year-old child. The kids that my friends were talking about were, I think, 9 and 12, which I don't know where, like, because I know, like, for instance, like children, like 3 or 4-year-olds will glom on to like anything. Apparently Frozen is the loop du jour. But I think like that when you're, I guess, a preteen or just turning into a teenager, that like where you kind of start to identify your own personality with the stories and the worlds that are kind of around you. It's got to be so strange now.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, absolutely. Sorry, that took a tangent off of Magic.
No, I think it's good. All right. We've got a lot of like potpourri stories. So everybody, put on your taking off caps.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about this real quick through a gaming lens. We lost Ozzy Osbourne last week, and the folks over at Double Fine had one of the most interesting tributes I think I've seen to someone.
Yeah,
So
it was pretty dope.
For those who are unfamiliar with this looks like Jack Black and Ozzy Osbourne hanging out. Because it is. Because that's Jack Black's character and Ozzy Osbourne's character from Brutal Legend. And the folks at Double Fine gave it away for 666 minutes in honor of Ozzy Osbourne.
For free. Yeah.
For free. And if you own it, and you probably do, because it's been like $3 for like years now, I encourage you to replay it. If you're feeling in a metal mood, just replay the game. You don't have to like get super into the RTS stuff or anything, but God, was it a good reminder of like an era of metal where they were just like, yeah, we're just getting all these metalheads and we're going to put them all in voice recording booths and we're going to talk about metal. And like, then we'll make that into a video game somehow. Don't worry about it. It's one of the weirdest, most, and like, Ozzy's performance in it is top-notch. Genuine top-notch. It's really good. It was a touching, like, little reminder of, like, a thing that he'd done in the gaming space that I thought was really excellent.
Yeah. Larky gets it right, too. Brutal Legend, the game I can never find good quality playthroughs of because of copyright claims. Yes.
That's correct. Yeah, you can't watch because all of the entire soundtrack is actual metal music, which is great. So yeah,
it was a really nice tribute.
Yeah, it was good.
In our little corner of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Ozzy, freaking legend, and it's so odd. I thought he was older than 76.
Nah, dude, he's just been riding rough his entire life.
Yeah.
He also went out like an absolute boss. He went out. He passed 2 weeks after his farewell tour, and his portion of the proceeds from the farewell tour all went to Parkinson's research, I believe.
Yeah.
He was like, "Cool, that's it. I'm done. Peace." And you know what? If you gotta go out, that's a pretty good way to go out. So big fan of that. And I know there have been a lot of touching tributes, but I thought this one was cool and gaming related, so I'm bringing it up here. All right, on to a more weird positive story. Pokemon Presents happened. We missed this. It was last week before the show, but there was too much during last show to do that, so you get it here.
Gotta catch up.
Gotta catch them up all.
Gotta catch up all.
Okay. All right. So they announced a bunch of stuff. We got a bunch more stuff on ZA. We got details of the same studio that did Wallace and Gromit making a claymation Pokemon show or Pokemon movie, I guess.
I think it's a show. I think it's a show on Netflix. Am I wrong on that?
So there's the Pokemon Concierge is on Netflix, and I think the Pokemon Tales: The Misadventures of Sirfetch'd and Pichu, I think, is a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like two different ones. It might be a show. But I'm not sure. I thought that one was a movie. And then two things happened that I really wanted to talk about. Number one, they announced Pokemon Friends, which is a brain teaser game. It's like a puzzly game. And the truly bizarre thing is that it's free on mobile and $10 on Switch 2.
Does it have microtransactions in it?
Yeah, on both versions. Right. That is the correct face. What are you
Shocked
doing?
Pikachu face. Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah. Just, I don't get that one at all. And the second one is that they announced Pokemon Champions. This is it. I'm gonna stake money on this. This is the thing that changes competitive Pokemon forever. Pokemon Champions is the mobile and Switch pure battle game that is allowing you to do everything that the emulators are doing, like Pokemon Showdown, with training for exact stats and exact move sets and importing all of your Pokemon from all of the different places from Pokemon Home, and you can get new Pokemon from champions. This is it. This is the thing that Pokemon has needed to make competitive Pokemon accessible and reasonable for people to play. I am gonna stake it. This is what's gonna change competitive Pokemon into being a more accessible thing that doesn't require hundreds of hours to make a team. I really do. I think this is gonna be it. I have some small concerns about, there's a currency that's shown that you spend to get in-game, to get new Pokemon and to train them to have specific stats in-game. The source of that currency is not disclosed. I do have some...
Gee, I wonder where it could come from.
So I brought this up in the Discord. The Pokemon nerds in the Discord assure me that they think that this is a sort of an earned in-game currency. I do have worries about it. I share the microtransaction concern thing. They point out that there are other similar currencies that have been used in the past to do similar things in main phase Pokemon games. So it may be like a you play X games, have dailies kind of thing to keep people engaged, rather than being a microtransaction currency. But I am withholding all judgment until we actually know.
Yeah, and if it's not real money, that doesn't mean that you can't also get that currency through your own fat stacks of cheddar.
So I'm gonna take the stance of, I'm gonna defend Pokemon Company here real quick.
Yeah, do it. I'm going at him.
All right, great,
now.
excellent. Please do. Please interrogate this idea. In the Pokemon trading card game, not the mobile one, the Pokemon trading card game live, not Pocket, you cannot spend money in the app. There is no way to put your credit card information in and get more cards. The only thing you can do is purchase physical cards and then scan codes to get individual packs. Those codes are also sold like for pennies a piece online in secondary markets, but there is, built into the app, there is no way to spend money. Now, there's also, I will freely admit, the Pokemon Pocket TCG, which makes millions of dollars a day on people tuning in every 12 hours to get a dopamine hit from opening a Pokemon pack, and that's a whole different ballgame. I don't know which one they're doing, but I am saying that there is a precedent for Pokemon having a competitive client with no monetization built into the client.
No direct monetization. You've described workarounds to that monetization that are, granted, farther away than my idea of a currency matching a currency.
Correct, but I can also hand that client to a child, and the most that will happen is they can ask for physical Pokemon cards. They can't be sold microtransactions in the app.
Right, which is great.
Right.
In an insane world, it's the only logical choice. How many, or the only sane choice, I was going to say, how many Terminator 2 quotes can I fit into this episode?
Many.
We're going to find out.
All right. As we do that, let's talk about monetization real quick.
Oh, yeah, this one.
I like this one. This one's good. So you remember how Xbox was like, Outer Worlds 2, could it be $80? And nobody liked that. They said, psych, our bad. And they knocked it down to 70. And they're actually going so far as to refund.
Oh yeah, they have to. They'd have to with that.
Right. Like, they're refunding pre-orders, the $10 difference. And in some cases, maybe all of it. And then you have to rebuy. But like,
well, that's very nice. It's good of them to do so. I was trying to think of the why. Like, obviously, it's a backlashy thing, but Nintendo's gotten a lot of backlash for its $80 games, right? Mm-hmm. They're not changing.
They're also Nintendo.
Oh, I know. But like, this, I don't get me wrong. I'm happy about this. It just brings up so many interesting questions. Like, okay, so Xbox is like, it actually kind of fits with what Xbox is doing. Xbox has a real like, oh, whatever, man, kind of like vibe these days when it comes to its games. We won't get into it terribly. Actually, we will get into it a little bit in the upcoming stories. But with all the massive layoffs and everything, and sort of what they're doing, where they're putting their money, and then how they're treating the Xbox brand is sort of a like they want to play everywhere and don't want to be specifically winning. So if this is in like one specific area, do you know what I mean? They want to be ubiquitous. They want to be Windows. So like them doing this is a good way to signal that they want to play in a more broad space, where Nintendo and it's $80 like, no, we're playing in our sandbox. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, so there are two things that might specifically explain this for Outer Worlds 2 specifically. Not that, this. DreamWorks does make a really good point. The message of the game is anti-capitalist.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have an anti-capitalist message in the game and then be like, and the game's $80, you miss harder, right?
This also, actually, now that you're saying that, this also could have been kind of the plan. There's a lot of
is this their marketing push, in other words?
Yeah, this a marketing push? Is the cost of giving $10 back on people's credit cards of pre-buying cheaper than a media blitz? Do you know what I mean? Like, there is a world where, because of this game's subject matter, this is how they get away with charging $69.99 and coming out on top.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And again, I really, really do enjoy Outer Worlds, and I'm looking forward to playing Outer Worlds 2.
Yep.
But it could be, I don't know. That's a bit more tinfoil hat that I'm comfortable like latching into, but it would very well work.
Yep. Okay. I think we can cover this next story in the 3 minutes and 53 seconds we have before ads. Are you ready, Matt?
Love it.
All right. Rip bozos. All right. So what happened? What happened was. All right. For those unfamiliar, this VTuber displayed here is Iron Mouse. Iron Mouse is if you're weirdly unfamiliar, Iron Mouse is one of the most famous VTubers. She's definitely one of the biggest names in Twitch streaming. She had a subathon last year, which crushed the all-time Twitch concurrent subscriber count. She passed Kai Cenat, which was amazing because Kai's record was stupid to begin with.
Yeah.
And she crushed it. Iron Mouse has built her platform on raising money for the Immunodeficiency Foundation. That has been a big part of her platform since she started, because she suffers with immunodeficiency disorder, and they have helped her with that, with the process of living with that, basically, I believe, as long as she can remember. And that's been a big part of it. Her talent agency, Vshojo, was supposed to help with some of the fundraising. And it came to light recently that they had said that they had paid a large sum of money, $500,000, to this charity, and then didn't. And that they also owed Iron Mouse, as a performer herself, a rather substantial sum of money as of yet undisclosed. So she quit and put up a video about why she quit. And staying true to her fundraising purpose to a T, she put up a Tiltify. No money that is given to a Tiltify is touched. It goes directly to the charity. She put up a Tiltify and said, hey, this charity ended up short. I know a lot of you already gave to the subathon. If you can give anything, please let me know. Or, please do that with a modest goal of $10,000. And they crushed $1 million in less than 2 days. It was about $600,000 in 24 hours. So they paid everything that the charity was owed from Vshojo and then more. And then it got worse for Vshojo. You might be like, how could it possibly get worse? Well, their talent quit. And then they closed. Like, all of their talent quit. A bunch of them found out that a whole bunch of money was owed to them as well because Mouse said something in public. And they've announced that they're shutting down. So, in other words, maybe don't not give money to charity when your star performer, the person with one of the biggest platforms in VTubing on the planet, asks you to maybe give money to the charity that has helped make her life a little bit better, maybe you should do that. Maybe you should not be terrible people and withhold money from charity.
Justin went on social media and kind of like did this weird like congratulations to Iron Mouse for raising the money and also admitting some wrongdoing. It's an odd message. You can see it over on Kotaku, or if you're still over in the hellscape that is Twitter. But like, it's like the excuse was that money, like that $500,000 that was supposed to go to charity, that he said, actually, additionally, I acknowledge that some of the money spent by the company was raised in connection with the talent activity, which I learned was intended for a charitable initiative. At the time, we were working hard to raise additional investment capital to cover our costs. I firmly believed, based on the information available to us, that we'd be able to do so and cover the expenses. So basically, their finances were not solid. They reached into a cookie jar of something that should have gone directly to the charity to try to make ends meet because the ends weren't being met. They couldn't do it. It was a gamble, and he lost.
Yep.
Yeah. Sucks.
And the bottom line is that as of right now, Iron Mouse has raised $1.3 million for the Immunodeficiency Foundation. Good job, Mouse.
Yeah.
Good job, Iron Mouse. All right, that brings us exactly and neatly and nicely to our commercial break. We're going to do some commercials for things you can't buy, while Twitch gets commercials for things you can buy, and then we'll continue on with our smorgasbord of stories for today.
Will, would you like to go first?
No.
No? Oh,
No.
Gosh. Okay.
Sorry.
Let's see.
I'm breaking all kinds of improv rules today.
It's totally fine.
Asked and my brain just went.
All right. Here we go. Hey, everyone. Matt from Extra Credits here. You may have taken an improv class in your time and learned about the concept of yes and. That's when you're doing a show or a performance with a friend or colleague and you say something setting them up, and what they're supposed to do is yes and you and roll with whatever it is, even if they're not quite ready, because they'll get there. Now, I do want to bring up another thing that Will just demonstrated, and it's called no but. And what no but does is basically make it where you don't have to do any of the thing the person asked, and then that person has to come back and make a fake thing about the thing that they said to keep it going for themselves. They basically yes-anded the no but into a yes and. So try no but today.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
Hey, Chad, are you stumbling in an improv environment looking for something? Remember, no, but when anytime you can't think of a joke or something relevant to say, make it into a butt joke. You just got to make it into a butt joke. It's another way that you can take those improv lessons that you've learned, right? And then make it into a butt joke. And if you're not sure what kind of butt joke to make it a joke about someone who's kind of flat in the posterior. That is to say, a no butt joke. It's exactly the kind of thing that you can use in any improv situation to sort of, break the tension, do it. You should have all kinds of things like this in your back pocket where you have no but for an improv situation. Try no but today.
That's pretty good. Hey, everyone. Matt from Extra Credits here. Are you worried that your no but in your back pocket will not end up as a no but? Well, then can we introduce yes-anding your no but in your no but back pocket? That's basically when you have a no but in your back pocket where you may or may not have a but also when you unfold that no but, there is a yes and inside, which can continue the bit further if you needed to do so. Let me give you an example. Hey, Will, do you want to do one of the commercials right now?
No but.
Well, okay, that's why I'll do my commercial about no but, and then Will does his commercial about having no but in the no but back pocket, which inadvertently turned it into a yes and here we are. Try it today. I think we've reinvented advertising.
I think that was the most deeply unhinged, self-referential meta joke we've done in months, and I loved it. I was here for it. Nope, you're grabbing it. Yeah, yep, 100%. Where is this?
And what we've just illustrated to you is the stack.
Right, yeah. Actually, what I was going to say is, fun fact, knowing about no but is called no but.
The more you know.
Yeah, correct.
Ooh, do I have the sound? Hold on. Do I have it? No.
Is it too long, Ouroboros? Is it too long? It
Oh,
probably
it's gonna be too long for a clip.
yeah,
no
because
question.
all right, I will make it into a highlight and download it and post it in the channel because that was really good.
That was fun.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Great. Excellent. All right. Anyway, moving on with our show. We've got quite a few stories left, so we're gonna keep it going. Hey, you remember Splitgate 2? Because nobody
No.
else does.
Sadly, no.
Rare. Splitgate 2 was the promising successor to Splitgate 1, a sort of free-to-play game that took a lot of vibes from Halo and Portal.
Yeah. Two great tastes, mash them together.
Right, exactly. It was sort of the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups of Halo and Portal. And Splitgate 2 came out, and people were reasonably happy with it. And then this happened. And this is the director of Splitgate 2 going on the Game Awards. And during this opportunity to present himself in the capacity as the voice for his game and his collective group of developers who are working hard on this product, he chose to wear a hat that said, "Make FPS great again."
Let's not even get into politics.
Right, yeah, let's not.
Let's erase that for a moment. The idea that this will end well for your game.
Very small.
I don't know. Yeah, talk about a gamble.
Right, yeah. This is
or at the very, like, so it's either a political statement that is a gamble or a belief or whatever, and sure. Or it illustrates a level of cognitive dissonance that makes me not kind of trust in any project that is being developed.
Correct.
Like, it could not be a full political thing. It could just be a dumb joke that they thought was good. Right? Like, but if so, it's like, if that's the level of sort of judgment we're feeling, how can the project be okay? And apparently, it's run into some hiccups since then.
Yeah, the reason I point at this is a lot of those hiccups are things that might have been more easily glossed over or smoothed out if people believed in the game more. Like, if you have a diehard fanatic fan base for a niche title like Splitgate 2, it does become easier to sort of maintain momentum while you're fixing some of the problems that you have with monetization and bugs and other stuff.
Yeah.
But when there are no true believers because you did something stupid, it becomes harder to maintain that momentum because the belief from the community isn't there anymore.
And
right?
It's also, someone's bringing up too, that it's not only a tone deaf joke, but let's pretend there's a world where the joke hit, right? Let's pretend there's a world where it actually worked and it was like, yeah, right? Like, everyone's on board. Sure, right?
Yeah.
You gotta be sure
that your game is going to be
game
great.
is so good, because if it's not, again, in a world where that joke is taken very well and earnestly and everyone is on board, they will still take that joke and throw it back in your face if it is not the best thing since Halo, right? Like, so it's like a gamble on like 1,000 different levels that I don't know, I didn't quite get.
Yep. So as a result of their failing everything, they're going, and I don't know how this works, back to beta.
So here's the thing. Can I back up real quick?
Yeah.
I have not played Splitgate 2. Everything that I'd heard of about Splitgate and Splitgate 2 before this thing happened was relatively positive. It felt like a new, not quite polished yet, really fresh idea. Mm-hmm. The game itself could be wonderful and have tons of potential. I want to be very clear that, like, the
primary concerns are monetization practices.
Yeah. And I don't want a game to fail. I would love it if even someone or a team or something that made a mistake, etc., could come back, apologize, learn from it, and move forward. Mm-hmm. That's the goal. It doesn't seem as though, maybe, you know what? I'll even give it the charitable thing. Maybe this is the first step to that.
Yeah.
I don't know what going back to beta means. But I do believe they're actually going to be hit with layoffs now, sadly, and they're shutting down Splitgate 1.
Correct.
This comes to us from Kotaku. And again, I know they are different games, but like this has a real like, oh, you bought this game, number 1. Well, you can't play it anymore. Come get number 2.
Right. Yeah.
Unless Splitgate 1 was free to play, in which case that's kind of fine, even though it's sad.
Yeah, it was costing them hundreds.
Free to play?
I don't remember. It was costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, according to them, in server costs, which makes sense. That's the primary ongoing cost for most free-to-play games. So on that count, I guess it kind of makes sense. But yeah. Basically, studio CEO took giant, stupid gamble, and boy, is he bad at gambling. I hope all those developers who get laid off find jobs quickly.
Yeah, and I hope that a lesson is learned here, and it's not doubled or tripled down with, no, the kids are wrong. Like people can grow, people can change. You take this as an example and learn from it. And if it's back to beta, maybe there's something that can be done with the way that the team is run or the way that the game is monetized or something, because it could be awesome, right? Like, I don't know. I just when we are being critical of people basically taking a emotional nosedive into a stage, I want to make sure that there is room, unless they are, and I haven't looked into this guy too much, so I don't know if there are like terribly abhorrent things. I don't think there are. I do believe he hasn't apologized for it, but maybe he has. Again, I have no idea. I just want to make sure that like there's space for people to come back from messing up.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, Matt, you want to talk about this thing? Oh, you actually want to talk about this thing.
I actually want to talk about this thing. Okay. So everybody, 2 videos dropped, I believe last week, or maybe it's a little bit before. I wanted to squeeze these in sometime in this catch-up episode. So the Mortal Kombat reboot, which I think was in 2023, 2022, I don't even remember, the first one with Cole Young as the main character that should have always been Johnny Cage, I was not a fan of overall. It was fine. It doesn't even come close to the 95 version as far as video game adaptations are concerned. But the main gripe I had was twofold. 1, there was no Johnny Cage. 2, there was no fighting tournament in a Mortal Kombat game, and that really irked me. Mortal Kombat 2 dropped 2 trailers. One that is essentially a fake trailer for a Johnny Cage movie, which I'm sure is in the movie. From the makers of Citizen Cage from New Line Cinema. It is a phenomenal like joke kind of thing that I really dug. And then the actual trailer dropped, which you can go to the next picture right here, for Mortal Kombat 2. Now, if you have not seen it, either of these things, I urge you to pause the show, go to the show notes if you're watching this, not the live version, and watch the 2 trailers. They're pretty short. The second one is a red band trailer, so if gore's not your thing, don't watch that one. They are making this one, I believe, rated R. I think this is what it comes down to. I want to be hyped for this. The trailer does a lot of things outside of Carl Urban, because I think Carl Urban is the glue that's keeping this together for me, to make me not psyched for this thing. The weird part is I think a ton of stuff it has going for it looks really good. I think a lot of the costumes are great and right out of the game. I think Shao Kahn looks dope. I think they put Raiden in an actual like video game style costume, which if it's not going to be Christopher Lambert, then I guess this is the second best thing. I really liked the folks who played Jackson Sonya last time around. Also Scorpion, etc. Like, and they're fighting Bihan, aka Noob Saibot, because spoiler for Mortal Kombat 1, the reboot, Sub-Zero doesn't quite make it. I don't know. The problem I find with it, and CGI can always be touched up, and I think this comes out in September or October. I just don't know. Like this feels too. And this is gonna sound strange. It feels too hokey. And I know people like want it to be hokey. I know that Mortal Kombat can be hokey.
Yeah.
But there's something that when you bring in like we did Mortal Kombat movie nights for Mortal Kombat 10, 11, and 1, I believe, where we played through the story mode on this channel of the games. and they're B-movie action slop, and that's what slop, and that's what I love. But there's something when I don't mind if the story is hokey or the characters are hokey, but if I want the world that the hokiness is in to feel real and lived in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Weird example, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Obviously not a realistic take on how the world works,
right.
And it is incredibly hokey. But you feel like the characters living in that world of exaggerated video game tropes, etc., are living in that world.
A great example is when Scott punches somebody so hard they turn into change, and his first thought is, "Sweet, I can take the bus home."
Yeah. Things like that. Also, yes, the use of the Wu-Tang Clan track was dope in this, 1000%. Nowhere in here, even with Johnny Cage's like, I don't give a shit about any of this, or like not knowing what's going on, fish out of water, felt like any of the characters kind of were in this. And maybe that's hard for a trailer to do. I don't know. Here's what I want. If anyone in Brad or Janet right now live could tell me why they're excited for this movie, I would appreciate it. Because I want to be.
What we've mostly been seeing from Brad and Janet while Matt's been explaining this is I want to be hyped as well, but I'm just not based on what's happening. Some people are middling on Carl Urban as Johnny Cage. I could see Carl Urban as Johnny Cage. Carl Urban does a great job of being that sort of character. I feel like it's most like his role in The Boys.
I like this Johnny Cage in this movie, at least from what I've seen, because it's old Johnny Cage. It's Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat 11. Or the older version, because you in that game it's a time traveling one, and there's a young one and an old one, and this is like old movie star, washed up 80s and 90s action Johnny Cage, which is pretty fun. Like if you put the two trailers together, I think there's a scene where he's fighting Baraka, which everyone kind of, here's the thing, Baraka's mouth looks like prosthetics. That doesn't bother me. Like bad green screen blending around things to have them not look like they're just in a sound studio bothers me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather hokey prosthetics than not believing they're standing in a temple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's a scene where in the fake trailer, Johnny Cage is like, they do all the things in the fake Johnny Cage movie trailer of like how they make old action stars now, like Arnold and a couple other people, like still look like they can move with editing. And some of it's very clever. One of them, he has like a bow staff or a long pipe and he's spinning it and just taking out 6 guys around him. Johnny Cage in the trailer tries to do that with Baraka. And Baraka just puts up his blades like this, and it just shreds the pole. And then Johnny Cage like looks down like he can't believe that his dumb action movie trope didn't work. That's the kind of stuff. That's the one moment where I'm like, oh, this feels
correct.
This feels correct. I want more of that, and I hope that the Johnny Cage character can do that. I don't know. I want to be excited. I've yammered on too long.
No, I think chat's with you. The general sentiment is everyone wants to be excited and isn't.
Yeah. Will we finally get to see Ninja Mime? God, I hope so. Oh, what a lovely false movie that is. We can move on. Thank you for coming to Matt's Mortal Kombat Corner. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
That's the MMKK.
Yeah.
Matt's Mortal Kombat Corner. Okay, great. Awesome. Elden Ring has hit a massive milestone. They have crossed 5 million copies of Nightreign sold and 10 million copies of Shadow of the Erdtree. This is wild. This is huge success for Elden Ring. It is a game that keeps winning. Good job. Great job. And in the midst of all of that, we've gotten news of that has breached containment even about Nightreign, which is that duos are coming to Nightreign, and the reporting about duos coming to Nightreign, along with a bunch of other quality of life things like the ability to sort relics more accurately and a bunch of other stuff. The weirdest thing about it is that news comes to us from Forbes. Forbes is reporting on Nightreign duos. That's the weird part.
It's pretty good.
That it has breached containment to that extent that an update for Nightreign made it to Forbes.
I feel like that means that when we're playing duos, Will, it's the same as if we were working on our investment portfolio.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this. Last night, finally, Will, I did beat Dark Drift Knight with 2 randos. The key was everyone got to level 14 and everyone poured lightning on him. Like it was just lightning, real lightning all the way down.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Just a good little thing. All right. I think that's all of our main like stories. We wanted to kind of do a roundup because it's been a hot second since we've done this roundup.
It's the AI Slop Roundup. I don't have a sound.
Great sound effect.
Yeah, there you go.
There's been a whole bunch of problems, incidents, nonsense with AI Slop recently, and we just wanted to like highlight some of them and highlight how ridiculous this is getting and how much we wish it would stop. Because it's getting worse and worse, and companies are like just sort of shamelessly doing stuff with this. So like as a great example, Blizzard, a company known for having no money to hire talented artists. Poor Blizzard
Can't afford to hire an artist.
Right. To highlight what will probably be a disgustingly profitable crossover between Diablo and Hearthstone, decided to promote this using art that was AI generated. Like not in part, like in most.
I think this actually, and I followed this before. I don't know if more things have kind of pulled into this story, but like, this is a thing. I believe that there'll be Hearthstone things in Diablo, not Diablo things in Hearthstone. Like this isn't like a set from what I understand. This isn't like the StarCraft mini set that they did, which was very, very good. Regardless, I don't know what team came up with this, what house in Blizzard came up with this, but the images of a night elf playing Hearthstone across the table from a human looking guy. And you can go, if you go to the show notes, the PC Gamer article does a really good job of like showing what people have kind of figured out why the thing looks AI generated. Everything from like playing cards are sort of backwards or mirrored to thumbs being wrong to like people's jewelry being embedded in their forehead. Things like that. They're just things that like would be elements that a human artist wouldn't ever think to draw a thing like. I mean, this is just gonna be prominent across the board. I think Blizzard is being the good little velociraptors that they are testing the fences to see what they can get away with, and eventually people will get tired of calling it out. But right now, not yet.
Yep.
Yeah. Slop.
Yeah. This weird industry is also booming to the extent that one of the hottest black market trade goods in the world right now is AI chips. Due to export restrictions and some of the ways that NVIDIA has been restricted from like moving chips around, people are smuggling chips and selling them on the black market, particularly into China. But like there's a huge, like, we're now so far down this rabbit hole that there's illegal AI smuggling going on.
That's how you know an industry is good.
For like lying robots. In my mind, it's kind of like if someone was smuggling Furbies. Like, I guess you could if there was enough demand, but why though?
Well, there's enough demand because people made up enough demand. Companies made up enough demand. Consumers haven't really made up enough demand yet. There's a reason why literally every product that you use in your day-to-day is like, want to try our AI thing though? And you're like, not really. I just wanted to write an email. You want us to write that email for you? No, thanks. It's because they're trying to latch us into a level of ease and comfort so that it can eventually become a charged service when we can't live without it.
Right. And the one of the people who believes that, at least in public, the most of everyone, is, no surprise, the CEO of NVIDIA, says that everyone at NVIDIA is designing AI chips using AI. And this one I actually want to talk about for a hot second. And he also says that if you're not using AI in your job, you will be replaced by someone who is, which is wrong. So that's cool.
Well, it's morally wrong. I don't know if it's physically
Matt,
wrong.
you gonna replace me with a digital streamer?
No, but companies could.
Sure,
that's the thing.
Sure, but there will always be demand. Like, I don't think our audience wants to watch a virtual version of us.
No, but it's not. That's not the point. Look, I don't agree with him. I think he came off super crass and it was kind of sounded like a pompous blowhard. But every major company is pushing in this direction. Just like we were saying, the magic thing. Like, there's no going back. There's no whatever. Like, there is a possibility that the bubble bursts, but everything is going to be, for this AI stuff, is going to be, they're going to keep doing it. Like, and we'll get to it in a second, but Microsoft isn't investing the amount of money that Microsoft is investing into AI technology to then have it, like, to have them not throw it in your face every 5 seconds. Yeah. Like, that's what they want. There will always be a demand, I think, for human-led entertainment stories, etc., of course. But what they're banking on, I think someone said it in chat earlier, is when this gets good enough where the average consumer won't look at it and be like, that's ugly and freakish. The second it's not that, it's kind of off to the races.
Yeah. And I do think that there is, and this is another case, right, where the industry is willfully conflating two things to try and convince the public that something is true that it's not. What most average consumers probably think when the CEO of NVIDIA says that everyone is using AI is that everyone at NVIDIA is using ChatGPT to write emails and do stuff. And that might be true, but that's probably not what he means.
No, he means they're using AI tools in the way that they code, and they're speeding up the way that they're using it.
Or that they're using machine learning expert systems, also can be referred to as AI, but are not LLMs or schlock. They are optimization tools to design next generation. Like,
when we are talking about AI Slop Roundup, we are talking about the consumer-based nonsense that is being spoon-fed to us consistently. This is not talking about tools in specific fields that actually, like, do make a human's life and job easier.
Correct. And that's the problem, is that they are conflating, they are using real, actual expert systems and machine learning models, which are good tools and consume infinitely less power than the stupid LLM schlock, right, to justify the existence of the slop, right? And so I just want to be clear that, like, and it irks me that underneath all of this, there is, like, a thing that we're losing out on because they made it terrible, right? Which is that there are tools for analysis, there are tools for optimization that are machine learning, and they're getting bundled in with, well, ChatGPT, Grok, right, whatever, is all slop. And I just want to point out that they are refusing to use the differentiated language on purpose to justify the existence of this crap. To the extent that now there's been at least one case of a company that has had to develop new features for their program. In this case, it's a guitar app. Because ChatGPT hallucinated so frequently that they had a feature that they didn't have, that they felt obligated to make it because their customers were leaving disappointed despite the fact that they'd never promised them a feature, because ChatGPT told them that the software had a feature that never existed. It's, once again, one of the biggest failings of all of this is people substituting ChatGPT for Google.
Well, Google
also has AI generated summaries.
Yeah, but this is all not people's faults, right? Because Google has basically abandoned Google search.
Correct.
Like, you can't, like, this is awful, but if you type anything into Google without adding the word Reddit at the end, you get nothing. Like, you get nothing but advertisements or AI slop that all read like a cooking recipe from 2021.
Yeah.
Like it's a nightmare. So maybe it'll throw you to Wikipedia if you're lucky, but overall, Google has truly kneecapped its own search results to try to make Gemini and other things function.
Right. And
to make people use them.
Right. And now we're getting into this weird thing because we've talked about it before, right? That one of the big problems is that when these things scrape the internet and find lies that they create, it just deepens the hallucination.
Yeah.
Right. And now we're seeing a part where because people expect those hallucinations to be real, it's costing actual developers time, money, effort, and energy to not have customers be upset with them because the lying machine lied to them.
Yeah.
Right? It's getting it. This is ridiculous, right? And
it's like, what if our no but was on a recursive loop and went beyond 3 levels, like 3,000 levels. Yeah. How awful would that be?
Right. The joke is funny because we know when to stop. Right?
Do we though?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Goldie's got a great point. Google is so bad now that sometimes they use Bing on purpose.
Amazing. You know Google's bad if you're Binging shit. That's a real damning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love this take too. I too could be paid to much more efficiently lie to people and imagine things that aren't true using much less water for my relatively small biological form. I am the better option here. True. I will also lie to people if Microsoft wants to give me enough money.
Yeah.
It's great. Can we just mechanical Turk this whole thing?
Acting? What is acting if it's not lying in the dark to people for money?
You're just correct.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point where like it's interfering with stuff that should just be fun.
Yeah.
It should just be fun. Street Fighter 6 had an art contest. And the biggest story about it isn't that a whole bunch of people got together to make fan art for a thing that they really care about. It's that some of the frontrunners may have used AI instead of actually drawing it themselves, even though the contest had a specific no AI art will be accepted thing. So now, instead of appreciating the art, people are going through entries with a fine-tooth comb because there are some things that just don't look quite right and they have to prove it. So now we can't even have like a fun art contest to like get actual artists the exposure that they're trying to get for their art and for their passion for a thing like Street Fighter, because someone had to be like, nah, I'm just gonna put a bunch of AI art in the contest. Like, that's partly AI being terrible and also partly people being terrible. Like
and also partly people being fed terrible tools that like, it's not a vacuum. Yes, a person can be terrible. Yes, people can be terrible. Yes, a corporation can be terrible. But like the ways that people are being, all of this stuff is being inundated 24/7 at people. Eventually, more and more people will use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, all of this is
real quick. Can we switch the last two just because I feel like the last one's the bigger one, so we'll go right into the
yeah.
So the AI stuff in art competitions obviously isn't the only place it's kind of making a user experience worse. Also, there's just apparently like right now a ton of AI slop in the PlayStation Store itself. This also comes to us from Kotaku. The level of like Nintendo's eShop was having a lot of problems with like sort of jank games now, but like if you look at the PlayStation Store next to things like, Horizon or God of War, like these prestige Death Stranding 2, you get some really odd nonsense here and there. And if you search deep enough and you go further enough down the line, like it feels like I don't know why they're letting this much slop on the store. I think if I had to guess, it's because they weren't ready for how fast the slop comes. Do you know what I mean? The slop is only getting faster to make.
Yep.
And if they can automate the publication and the way you get something on a PlayStation Store, which from what Jeff tells me is a huge pain in the butt, they could just upload nonsense nonstop. And I don't think so. It doesn't feel like Sony was ready for it. That's my guess anyway.
Yeah, that seems right. And and we're using PlayStation Store as a stand-in. I have every confidence that this is plaguing every app marketplace, right? But we're seeing it happen for real in PlayStation. I haven't been on the Android App Store since I had to install a NFC reader, and that one went pretty well.
I downloaded Nebula on an Android device a couple days ago. That was my last.
Right, but like neither of us, we don't go shopping on mobile app store. How many? Actually, this is an interesting corollary question. How many of you go shopping for apps on app stores rather than going to the app store to install an app you already know exists?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Do you browse?
Right, like
show of hands. Who browses app stores? I would say the closest we'd probably get here, if I had to guess while these are coming in, is people, and I've done this, I've gone to the eShops of consoles that I have and like just looked at what's up. Like,
yeah. Oh, here, Matt, while we're getting the rest of these answers, you can have this one for free.
What? Averdal, yeah, it's like on everything. Actually, shout out to the developers of the Nebula app. It's in-house teams. All the engineers are like in-house of Nebula from what I understand for the most part. Don't entirely quote me on that, but like I know the engineering team over there is like super solid, and they're small but mighty. And they have dedicated apps, and the streaming service is a dedicated thing. Like it's not piggybacked off of another thing. It's like it's legit and real and good. And every time I install Nebula onto an actual device, I'm always like, God, this thing is actually working better. I'll tell you straight up, with no fear of being wrong for any reason. The Nebula app across any device I've ever put it on runs circles around Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus is one of the worst optimized apps for streaming I've ever experienced in my entire life. I don't know what is wrong with it. It doesn't matter what you install it on. It seems to just chug and crawl and want to die. It takes me like 9 hours to just get to an episode of Deep Space Nine. And it's funny, like whenever I see something like that, there's a couple others that I feel like that don't run too optimally. And then I look at the Nebula one, I was like, God, these folks are doing so much with so little. So thank you to the Nebula subscribers for helping to support the ability to keep our apps cool.
Yeah. So the general consensus from both Brad and Janet is that people may have browsed these stores at one point, but for the most part, no. They're going looking for a specific thing to fill a specific need, a Sudoku app, an app that fits a particular technical need. They're not browsing casually unless it's for like once in a blue moon, on vacation, stranded in an airport, looking for a mindless game to play on your phone. That makes sense, right? But like overall. And then this all just comes back to sort of...
Oh, wow. Interesting. Sorry, I didn't know this. Yeah. Paramount all but dissolved their app support last year. Husband was part of the layoffs. Oh, I did hear that. Yeah. So it's just kind of like floating there now. That's fun.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Microsoft layoffs real quick.
Oh, yeah. 9,000 plus. I think it's actually closer to 12 or 13.
Right. Plus the knock-on effects of like other studios that have been impacted, like Romero Games and et cetera, et cetera. But
we did talk about the gaming, like issues with that, of course, on the show before. However, the thing that it keeps coming up, even though Microsoft had its most profitable year in a long time, they're spending $80 billion, I believe, on what is essentially like AI infrastructure, basically. And you don't do that unless you believe that that's how everything's going to run for the next whatever, however many tens of hundreds of years. The bowl. Give Microsoft a break. They're still trying to find their niche. You know, one day I really hope that small upstart Microsoft will really get a foothold in there. Yeah, it's crazy damning that after what is a benchmark year, they're laying a ton of people off and just dumping money into this. And the CEO put out a real word salad. God, what's this guy's name? I can never remember it. Nadella. I can't remember his first name. Satya Nadella said, quote, "I want to speak on what's been weighing heavily on me and what I know many of you are thinking about. recent job eliminations. He wrote that. Then it said it seems to be on the, quote, seeming incongruence of the fact that, quote, by every objective measure, Microsoft is thriving. Our market performance, strategic positioning, and growth all point us to the right. And yet, at the same time, we've undergone layoffs. This is the enigma of success in an industry that has no franchise value. Progress isn't linear. It's dynamic, sometimes dissonant, and always demanding. But it's also a new opportunity for us to shape, lead through, and have greater impact than ever before.
I think I got a nosebleed just from listening to Matt read that. Like, am I good?
Section,
like,
our ad section of this show was clearer.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's correct. Yeah. It's, if you missed it, go back. It's 3 minutes of us making no butt jokes.
Is Copilot in the room with you right now? Blink once if you need help. If you need me to go get Clippy. And what's awful about this is that everyone's like, yeah, no, totally. Like, business-wise.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the people that are pulling the strings of this think, like, it's, in a weird way, it's a corporate consolidated hallucination that they're all sort of in themselves, and they're kind of making it real.
Well, this one?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 100%. No, 100%.
And like 80 billion, like, I don't know. Like, again, there's an infinite number of people that are smarter than me.
Sure.
But I would like, here's what I would like. We just went through, if you're an, what do you got? You may ask, why did we do this terrible thing? The answer is clearly synergy, disruption. We'll circle back.
Right. No, that's it. That's it.
I would love if you've watched this episode to this point and you are a very pro AI person. First of all, congratulations for taking the constant kneecapping that Will and I just divvied out, and I appreciate your grit. I would really love a good faith argument in the comment section, or you can message us if you're watching this on Nebula over on Blue Sky, of how, like, what positive way for the general population, yep, there we go, that $80 billion invested into Microsoft's AI is going to have for, like, an average consumer's life. Not what good things different models can do for sciences and technology, that sort of thing, but like a broader look at how this company that is based essentially on making software to run other software, how that's going to make an individual's life overall better. Because I can't, no one's been able to tell me that. I can't think of it. And that's not to say that that answer isn't out there. And that's why I would love a good faith discussion, argument, statement, so I could read it and maybe learn something. Because obviously that's a lot of money, and you don't do it if there's no path to victory. I don't see it. And maybe that's why I don't work for Microsoft. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. So it's getting worse, and we would be remiss if we didn't address it. At this point, I've seen a couple of comments in the show about why we haven't addressed the problems of payment processor censorship in Steam and itch.io. We covered both of those on Friday. You can go check out the last VOD if you want to see our take on that. Basically,
Summer Friday edition.
Yeah, Summer Friday edition. The short version is, what? No, stop it. Get some help. Leave games alone. Bad payment processor. That's the short version.
Yeah. OWD says, all I ever heard about is how it'll make us more productive, as though we'll somehow be given more leisure time and our society measures people based on their work. Precisely. All it's going to do is allow you to do more work faster. You're not going to work less. You're going to work more in the same amount of time.
There's a conflation, right, that's happening of... There's two visions of the future. One of them is Cyberpunk and one of them is Star Trek. We're going to use those as like end caps, right? Cyberpunk is the ultimate capitalist sort of dystopian viewpoint, and Star Trek is the ultimate communist or socialist utopian viewpoint, right? And lots of people are conflating the leisure time and affordances granted by machines and AI in Star Trek with the corporate profit and power that is present in cyberpunk. And the problem is that people are thinking about the AI and these tools in the way that they have been taught to buy Star Trek, and then buying in thinking that we'll end up in that direction, when really what we're doing is we're ending up in cyberpunk. And that's like a very broad simplification, but the problem of people wanting to do less work while not understanding that as long as we're doing it for a profit motive, we'll always be doing the same amount of work is... Like, you can look at the graphs, right? The productivity of the average American worker has been climbing significantly while the minimum wage has remained stagnant, right? And while pay in general has not kept pace with inflation or with that productivity curve. And so the same thing will remain true. We have no reason to believe that this invention of a new tool will change that in any way, though we are pitched on the idea of a life of leisure. We're really just cutting jobs for people who work at McDonald's. Right? Think about their AI like ordering screen thing that can like.
That's not AI. That's just automation. But yeah, like
I thought they had a new.
Oh, do they?
Am I hallucinating an AI drive-through agent person?
Maybe. I have no idea. If could happen.
I might, dude. I've been having such weird dreams. So if I might have made that up whole cloth, and if I did, I'm sorry. That might have been a bad dream I had.
I was gonna say. I used to think, I think this will be sort of my final thought on this. I used to think that the solution to humanity's inherent greed problem would be if and when we discovered a power source that was both infinite and essentially free. You could argue that we kind of already have if we want to invest in solar, wind, and like all those other things too. But like, you know, there still costs money. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, fission or fusion, I can never remember which one is the one that isn't stable.
Fission is unstable, fusion is stable.
Right, so if you could stabilize fission, like, or something, like...
Oh, we want fusion. Fusion is the clean one. Fission is the one that leads to nuclear waste.
Not my wheelhouse. But my point is, I always used to think that whenever we figured out the energy thing, when energy is essentially infinite, then people's greed would lessen or stop. And I don't really believe that to be true anymore, because like AI is not that technological leap, of course, but there are ways that this technology could better humanity, and has in a lot of different ways, in great ways, but they're also drowning that out with like 10 times the amount of slop where I feel like it's hurting the average human being, or it will eventually hurt the average human being. And so I'm watching the proliferation of AI go through, even if it's just a buzzword, go through society and how corporations are reacting to it. And it's not to make our lives easier. It's to make our lives something that we cannot live without AI in. And we have forever. So, but like, that's not to say that like 2 generations down the line, that will be the case.
I'll give you a great example. I'll give you such a great example. Did you know that when Matt and I were both born, the thing called a credit score didn't exist in the United States? And now we can't live without it. Now we have to worry about it all the time. Anytime we want to take out a line of credit for anything to exist in society. Didn't always exist. Now it does. Now it's indispensable. AI is aiming to be the new credit score. And for what it's worth, credit score is about as useful as AI.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just, it's systems being built that you then feel like have always been in place. And for some of your lives, something like a credit score has been, but it wasn't always, you know? And again, that's not to say that like the idea of a credit score or something along those lines is intrinsically bad in a modern society, but it's not, by far not perfect, and something that should grow and change and whatever, and not lock everyone into a specific thing consistently forever as the world changes. We're doing stuff on Extra History right now on President McKinley and his tariffs, and how like essentially now a lot of the tariffs that we're dealing with are kind of like copying McKinley's homework, but it's 100 years later. The world has changed. and they weren't particularly great back then. So look, to round up this AI Slop Roundup, It's not going away as per usual. And all we can do is keep shaking our fists at the cloud on a porch while we slowly turn into dust. And not engage with stuff that uses it whenever we can.
Yeah. All right, chat. Take a deep breath. Let it out.
Ooh, Yuri wants us to return to fun video game news. Let's do it now. Okay.
This is one of my favorite stories of like this year. So
I didn't know this existed.
Yeah,
so
right.
psyched.
Okay, so there's a tournament series for esports in Japan that runs exclusively for contenders aged 60 to 90 in nursing homes. This is a whole esports circuit. Like, not like, oh, we're gonna let people. No. They have like shoutcasters for this retiree Japanese nursing home esports league. Okay? And
this is the future that I want.
Right. And this is Yoshi Murabe, who is the Tekken 8 champion of this esports circuit, who used Panda, notoriously not a great character, simply because she likes pandas, and won I cannot stress this enough, National Retiree Esports Championship in Japan. And that is amazing. I love this. Like, these are the nursing homes I want to be in when we get old, Matt. Podcast studios and Tekken tournaments. Let's go.
That's kind of that's where I want to live. Let's live in that future. Is there a third one other than Cyberpunk and Star Trek? It's just what Will described.
Yeah, right. It's fine.
But this is so perfect because, like, yeah, as you get older, your ability to do different things obviously changes, and it's really lovely that there's a full tournament for people to do that at similar, I would imagine, similar play levels, like skill levels, and also depending on, accessibility and that sort of thing, like how well their hands work or how well whatever they're using to input commands works. I don't know. What an awesome thing to have that makes total sense in communities like that.
Yeah, and it's a fun way to like not ignore people in retirement homes, right? Like,
I believe there are VODs on Twitch.
There are
or YouTube.
They're over on YouTube. We'll have them in the show notes. The link to the say.com tech article where you can watch the finals against another retiree who was playing King. And
the top comment is, they broke more throws in this video than I have in my entire life on the match.
Right. And I think it's so great that we're highlighting seniors having fun. I think there's kind of like this stigma, right? In the US, we're a little grumbly about old people because they keep being in charge of things and not understanding how stuff works. And this is sort of the antithesis of this. This is just old people having fun and playing video games. And we're like, yeah, great, awesome. Like, this is a circuit that I want to pay attention to simply because it seems like done purely for joy. Right? And gaming purely for joy is like a great thing. It's great.
Millennial retirement homes are just going to be arcades. You're not wrong.
True. And that, dear friends, brings us to the end of this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining us for this sort of catch-up, roundup episode. We've had a lot of like disparate stories, and I know it was a little difficult to find like a through line in this, but there's so much to talk about right now. If you think it's weird that we didn't cover something, the chances are pretty good that we covered it last Friday on the Friday edition, because we did 2 episodes pretty close together. And again, a reminder, there will not be an episode next week. Because Matt will be coming back from Gen Con. And if you're going to Gen Con, you can find Matt over at the Cyberpunk Legends booth.
I'll be wearing the hat like this. And I'll be screaming the word "choom" at the top of my lungs.
Yeah, it seems reasonable.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Please, if you are going to Gen Con, come say hi. Love to chat for a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that all that remains is to remind people that if you haven't, go check out the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Go do that. And 2, for Matt to lead us in our communal sign off, just like retirees in Japan group together and have fighting game tournaments to foster community. We foster community here at Games for Breakfast with our communal sign-off. So Matt,
that's right.
Take it away.
We want everyone to be able to engage with this with us every time, every week. And that's why we have kept this outro the same, God, for 5 years, 6 years at this point. So many years it's been verbatim, and you all know it. You all love it. I'm just going to say it right now. Thank you so much for watching Games for Breakfast. And until next time, yes, but.